Greetings everyone, we're back in action. Today we are at Six Flags St. Louis in Eureka, Missouri, and we're gonna check out what there is to do here. It's a little bit rainy and thunderstormy right now, so most attractions are gonna be closed to start the day, but I'm hoping there's at least enough of a break to get on these wooden roller coasters. They've got 3 wooden coasters here, which is quite a bit, especially for a Six Flags park. So at the very least, we're gonna try to do that, and then whatever else we can explore in the park and have time for. Since all the rides are closed right now due to the weather, might as well go ahead and use one of my meal credits. JB's Sports Bar and Grill here has a few beers on tap, not a ton, but they also have other drink varieties as well. And I am gonna get one because I tried to get a free water like I normally do, and I was told it was gonna cost $6, so I might as well pay 12 bucks for a beer and enjoy it. I did get a pulled pork sandwich, and it is in the top 5 worst pulled pork sandwiches I've had in my life. I might actually go back to chicken. At least I had this cute dog to sit with at lunch. We've got a clearing in the weather for this afternoon, so let's go ride some rides. First up, we have the Boss. This is a CCI wooden coaster, not to be confused with GCI. It's CCI, Custom Coasters International. It's pretty zippy. It has some tighter corners than you're used to on wooden coasters, and while it's certainly not smooth, I mean, it's a wooden coaster, it is certainly bearable. It doesn't rattle you around so much that you feel like you need a visit to the emergency room after riding. Overall, it's faster than it appears from the queue as well. I definitely give this ride a good rating and recommend it. Plus, CCI was only in business for about a decade or so there are only a couple dozen of these coasters out there, so hop on. I also need to shout out the ride operations team here real quick. They were fantastic. It was just a couple of guys, and they were going as fast as they could considering the one-train operations. The one train did make the line move very slowly, but that's not at all due to the ride operators. They really pulled their weight. Fun fact, or I should say maybe not so fun fact, there used to be one final helix here, but it no longer exists. This here is the future home to the park's new kid family coaster coming called Rookie Racer, made by Vekoma. And here we see the track all laid out. It looks like they dug out, potentially the area where this coaster track is going to be placed. It's really not a big coaster at all, nothing to get too excited about, but certainly good for the families, and it's never bad when a park adds a coaster. Supergirl is the modern take on the classic Enterprise ride. Railroad here is not open, but it definitely meanders throughout the park, and I bet it would be a great, beautiful ride when it is open. Pandemonium is the park's Gerstlauer spinning roller coaster. This is a fairly compact model. Most of the ride is this corner you see here, as well as kind of what's contained up there. Definitely a fun ride to take a spin on. Bugs Bunny National Park is a kids themed area with some actually half decent themed Looney Tunes kids rides. Wompan Whip is the park's newest flat ride. It's this big fun time booster spinning arm with seats on both ends that face both directions that'll whip you around and flip you. This isn't the ride for someone who's afraid of heights, but it's quite the fun one, and another ride you don't see everywhere. Be aware, this is not a high capacity attraction, so the waits are pretty long. It's not busy today, and look at that, in almost 2 hours. And then also the ride does close early because of the long waits. So expect to wait a long time if you're gonna ride this. We're about to ride Screamin' Eagle. Apparently the crew here is friendly, clean, fast, safe, and service. So let's see if they live up to their name. The Screamin' Eagle is the park's PTC, Philadelphia Toboggan Company, wooden roller coaster. This is a slightly more modern PTC. By that I mean it was made in the 70s. So it's got a little more height and a little more speed than some of the real old ones. That being said, it could still use a little TLC. The operator mentioned it's 47 years old this year. They apparently just celebrated its birthday in grand fashion, so that's cool. It's definitely a fun ride, worth a trip, and not the most rattly thing ever, so I give it a thumbs up. The crew was a cow. The 2 ladies up here were very friendly, clean, fast, safe, and service. I even checked our restraints twice because someone had an issue, so they really nailed all the cows. So good job to this crew. Again, running one train, but this one's a little faster because there's no fast pass here. Six Flags St. Louis does have a water park, Hurricane Harbor. Not yet open for the season, but here are the dates for 2023. Over here is the home of Thunder River, the park's River Rapids ride. I do like on specific attractions how they mention when the attraction will actually be opening up. And that's how you get all your rapids. Of course, Six Flags couldn't resist a Larson Looper. Boomerang is the park's Vekoma boomerang coaster. Gonna send you forward and then through this whole course backwards. Pretty common ride here at Six Flags. This one's kind of cool though because the Cobra Roll here goes over the midway. Six Flags St. Louis has not one but two of these covered archways here that are covered in vines, plants, etc. Obviously not that pretty this early in the spring, but definitely a good place to cool off because not only does it offer shade, as you see there are fans under here too. River King Mine Train is the park's Arrow Mine Train style coaster. These are good for pretty much any person willing to ride a coaster. They're definitely not too intense and they've got a height requirement of 42 inches. Ninja is the park's steel Vekoma looping corkscrew coaster. Yeah, you heard me right. I know what you're thinking. That looks like an arrow and you're wrong, but not entirely wrong. This roller coaster was actually designed by Aerodynamics and they started to build it, but then they went bankrupt, so Vekoma took it over. So that's why it looks and feels like an arrow coaster would, and as you can see, it kind of rides like one too. It is still a fun ride though. It's a little smoother than the real old arrow corkscrew coasters. There's a really fun head chopper moment with the lift chain trough that you go under. There's also a really tight inversion, or no, sorry, not inversion. There's a really tight helix here at the end. So it's definitely a fun ride worth hopping on board. Hey, help him out. This is a Joker-themed pirate ship. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm willing to say this might be the only Joker-themed pirate ship that exists. It's actually called the Joker Inc. if you want to be official. I always like to point out these low sensory areas the park has. This particular park has a low sensory room here at St. Louis, as well as some specific rider information in this same area. For perspective, we are sort of near the boss area up that way. Gift shops upon gift shops upon funnel cakes. Amusement park staples. Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast is the park's premier rides launch coaster. And this may look similar to the ride in Over Texas. And it is, except this one currently is launching you backwards. They kind of did a flop. So this one starts by launching you backwards, then launches you forward. I know the question is, which is better, right? My answer to that would be the reverse version, because when you hit the top of that spike there, it gives you some great views and a little bit of hang time where you're kind of looking straight at the ground and out at the park, especially if you sit towards the back of the train. Ton of fun, very forceful, very intense, and a great ride. The log flume here is not open just yet, but it does have a double drop, so that's cool. Justice League Battle for Metropolis is an indoor Sally Dark Ride shooter ride that has some great theming and is always worth a visit whenever a Six Flags park has one of these. Good for the whole family. I did accidentally shoot Wonder Woman a couple times. She's okay though. Man, GCI makes some good coasters. This here is American Thunder. It is quick, it's crazy. Got some wild bank turns, plenty of airtime. It's not my favorite GCI of all of them out there, but it's still lots of fun and certainly the smoothest wood coaster at the park, minus a couple of jerky transitions. Look at the banking on this corner. They do all sorts of wacky stuff with their coasters. I almost like to think of GCI as RMC's younger brother or cousin, if you will. Definitely a great ride and worth hopping on. And this was also the shortest line in the park by far because they are running 2 trains, so the wait was less than 5 minutes. Love multiple train operations. Batman the Ride is the park's inverted B&M roller coaster. These are at a lot of Six Flags parks. They're speedy, they're fun, they're forceful. I always hop on. Colossus is the park's Colossus-sized Ferris wheel. Takes you up about 180 feet. Gives you plenty of nice views. Overall, Six Flags St. Louis was a good park. They have plenty of trees, which that's always a plus for me. I enjoy parks with trees. The park is built kind of into the hillside, and a lot of the coasters follow the terrain and go through the woods at least a little bit. So that's very, very fun. The highlights really, ride-wise, were probably the American Thunder GCI wooden coaster, as well as Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. That was certainly fun. Team members here were also really friendly. Actually, pretty much everyone I've been interacting with lately here in St. Louis, or the St. Louis area, has seemed friendly. So I don't know if that's just a Missouri thing or what. You guys can let me know if you know any more about that. Lowe's, definitely there's an issue with serving food. The food lines were ridiculous today. The park itself was, I would say, light to moderate crowds at the heaviest. And the food lines had to be at least an hour. I waited an hour and 15 minutes, and that was before the lines got super long. So hopefully they can figure that out. But overall, I would recommend coming to this park. It might not be the first Six Flags park that you need to hit if you're ever, embarking on a big Six Flags adventure. However, I would definitely recommend stopping by at some point if you can, especially if you have a trip planned that might take you to the Missouri area. I am actually heading to Oklahoma tomorrow to go to Frontier City, so I know I haven't been posting too much lately. However, now parks are opening back up, so we're gonna get back out there. So you should be expecting another video soon. Thanks so much for watching. I'm gonna get my free water. Got dinner in time just for this wild storm. National Weather Service issued an emergency, keeping everyone inside. Bunch of hail, thunder. I like it.